Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to Drag Racing Live with Bill and John. My name is Bill Pratt. We're joined by Scott Woodruff of the International Hot Rod Association, and organizations that have gone from near afterthought a couple years ago to a full-on comeback story. They've got new tracks, new ownership, new partnerships, and an aggressive expansion plan underway. IHRA is rewriting its future heading into 2026, and we can't wait to talk with him about it. Woody Woodruff, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Thank you so much, man. You got the shack there. Check out all the fantastic memorabilia on the walls.
Yeah, I've got a little man cave here, so to speak, here in Suffield, Ohio. Got a little three-car garage, and then my office is in the back, and I love it. Gave me a great place to put a lot of the things and gifts and thank yous and a lot of memorabilia and good memories that I put up on the walls. So. Some of which are motivation and others are reminders.
Well, I like what you got right there to your right. Work hard and be nice, and
That's right.
that'll get
Right.
a lot
And
of
then
things
there's
done.
a leg lamp underneath that, but you can't see all of it. But
Oh,
yeah,
is that the famous lamp right there?
exactly. It's fragile.
We all came through the holidays, and I literally lived about a mile from that place when I was a kid. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
we've gone up there a couple of times as a family taking pictures around Christmas. It's a good time. I gotta say, as you're well aware, going through that place, that house is a lot bigger on TV than it is in real life.
Those things were tall, tiny, tiny, tiny little things.
Yes, yes.
All right.
But
Well,
yes, it's an exciting time for IHRA, we made a lot of great announcements over the weekend with solidifying our schedule for our Outlaw Nitro series and then the Triple Crown races that we announced and then a whole bunch of other goodies. So it's been very busy. Just busy since I started in July, to be honest. So it's a lot of excitement going on and a lot of work behind the scenes to really exceed everybody's expectations on and off the track in this year.
I had a great 2025, and everything I've heard about 26 has been amazing so far. But what if we can let's set the stage. So iTrade's gone through a serious resurgence, last year, and very successful. But from your seat, what changed that allowed this comeback to happen? Take us back to the beginning of this new era.
Well, I think I think the biggest change is our leader, Darryl Cuttell. Um, he is a I would characterize him as a adrenaline guy. Um, he's one of the only people I've found that likes to drive as fast as I do, and on the street, which I don't know whether that's good or bad, but um, but in all seriousness, he's a great guy. His vision is just amazing. Larry Morgan and I talk about this a lot, and Larry says he's only met one other person that he can compare to Darryl in that, when they look at something, they visualize it. They visualize it bigger, way better, just than what it is right now, and then that becomes their visual marker to go after. And he is very much that way. He raced I want to say I think it was 1984, and just really just fell in love with racing. Obviously he's an electrician by trade, so as he's busy, in the through the journeyman years and all that stuff, and coming through to where he is now, one of his true enjoyments is just going to different races. He loves snowmobiling, really into that. Really likes just like just the feel of racing. I can tell you, I'm not a boat guy by any means. Not probably just because I've never lived by water.
Right.
But to see him hop in that twin turbine jet turbine boat and go into an event at that Lake of Ozarks with the goal from the very beginning of breaking the record, was very energizing to see, and very energizing to be a part of. I mean, he smashed the record. It was 2:21 in a mile, and he did 2:42 and three quarters of a
Wow.
mile.
Wow.
Um, but what that really tells me is that, he gets it, so to speak. He has a tribal knowledge of motorsports. He understands that just fraction of a second of that euphoric feeling,
Right.
when you turn a wind light on, or you set a world record. I mean, that's excitement, and that's what we want to have around the IHRA, and that's what we're trying to build.
Well, that sounds great. A lot of people, the racers in the past have said, "Yeah, we want racers running these organizations, right? Not bean counters." I Not my words, but you've heard it before. But
Oh, plenty. Well, you need a good mix, you know?
yeah.
I mean, we have a very robust leadership team, in the way of just experience and knowledge, and just great across multiple disciplines. And, sometimes it's great to have somebody, our president, Leah Martin,
Hmm.
awesome, very good at what she does, but she doesn't know anything, and I say that in a very nice way, about the drag racing.
Hmm.
She doesn't claim that she does either, but it's great to have somebody like her, a fresh set of eyes to look at a sport that, I've been involved with for 30 years. Larry Morgan's been involved with it his whole life.
All right.
And guys like Brett Underwood and Doug Foley and Josh Hamming. you know, um, it's just it's really refreshing. I really look at it as really as what Daryl's done. He's really done a reset for motorsports.
Hmm.
The way that I look at it. There aren't too many people out there that understand that, the infrastructure of these tracks need to be improved. People understand that, but
Right.
they don't want to make the investment. He wants to
Right.
make the investment, and he's making the investment in the facilities, he's making the investment in the racers, and he's making the investment in the fans. And I think that long term, that's going to be the play that rewards us and everybody else that gets to enjoy racing.
Well, really excited about it, Woody. And folks, if you're just joining us, we're here with Woody Woodruff of the IHRA. Be sure to like and share. Get your questions ready for the Q&A session coming up at right around 8:30. But Woody, you're mentioning all the investment. The organization's been buying tracks, rebuilding infrastructure. Why was the track ownership such a critical move for IHRA's long-term stability?
Well, I think, I don't want to use the word control, but it's probably fits best. You know, we look at each facility as a stage, and we want to make sure as a group that we control that stage, whether it's drag racing, whether it's road course racing, whether it's dirt racing, oval, just boating, personal watercraft. We can't do that really on the boating side as far as owning owning the water for offshore or anything like that. But there's two things that you can control in racing. It's your attitude and how prepared you are. And that's not just in racing, that's in business. So
Mhm.
we look at that approach, and then we also look at trying to just exceed people's expectations. And at the end of the day, I truly feel, our whole team feels that we have an unbelievable opportunities to be stewards of the sport. And it's not something anybody in our group takes lightly. It's something that we're all very proud of. We all work hard at, but we know that we're here to make a difference, and really we all kind of looked at it as a blank canvas,
Hmm.
We don't need we let's make this fun again. Let's have music. Let's introduce more music festival type of atmosphere to the races,
Right.
to the drag races. Oh, and by the way, let's also add a tractor pull, or let's also add a bull riding, which we did in Galat with a Ferris wheel.
Hmm.
The Ferris wheel was probably the best visual that we had all year, to be
Yeah.
honest. I mean, that just says this is a good time. You should be here,
Hmm.
and that's the message that we want, and back to the, being able to enhance the fan experience and the racer experience. You got to have Wi-Fi at
Right.
every track, and it's got to
Right.
work.
Yeah.
And that's an investment, it's a big investment.
Right.
But your best people to promote your product are the ones that are using it and enjoying it.
Right.
And our job is to get them there to the racetrack, have a safe place on the racing surface as well as off the racing surface, and just exceed expectations.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty simple.
Yeah. Well, it takes cubic money sometimes that you're making the investment. That's amazing. And a lot of people have talked about this for many, many years. And there is, as we all advance in our years and some of the younger folks coming up, the ability to sit there or desire to sit there for like 12 straight hours watching, drag racing and not leave the bleachers except for hot dogs is it's just not there anymore. People need to move around and do some different things.
Yeah, it's you go back to muscle memory, how we've all been trained, over really aggressively mentally the last 10 years.
Hmm.
We're all multitasking.
Right.
We've forced ourselves to pay attention to things for a shorter period of time because we've got something else to move on to. So, knowing that, you change the way that you do events.
Hmm.
You I don't want to say use the Pied Piper type of approach, but it's like, hey, let's make some noise over here. Okay, let's go over there. Let's check this out. Man, that's really awesome. It's kind of starting to die a little bit. Okay, let's go over here. Let's make some noise over here.
Hmm.
Um, but you know, it's a great time. It's a great time, and we're very fortunate as a sanctioning body to have somebody like Darryl that's so dedicated to making a difference, making it happen, and just resetting things.
Sounds great. I can't wait to get out to one of them. I had to figure out which one or which couple I make it this year, but it's pretty cool.
Come to all of them.
There you go. Let's see how this channel does. Maybe we'll make it happen. But
There you go. Well, you got to do a show from there.
yeah,
It'll be your
well,
excuse. You could do a couple shows.
we're in. That sounds good.
I'll make
Well,
sure you got all the bandwidth that you need. How's that?
thank you. Sounds good. It sounds like I've got it. Yeah, I'm usually over there and trying to find shade and on my cell plan to see how I can put stuff up.
Yeah.
Well, talk about the racers. So for racers who maybe haven't paid attention to the IHRA for a while, what does the modern IHRA look like compared to 5 or 10 years ago? Even for the sportsman guys, certainly the pros, it's great to see those folks back. But for the sportsmen, what can they expect to see?
They can be expected to be treated as family. That simple. I mean, we do there's a couple really unique things, and I've had a number of conversations today specifically about this. But every morning, Daryl hops on his tractor with probably 5 or 6 people, and they pass out ice.
I saw those pictures. Yeah, that's great.
Two bags of ice or whatever to every single motor home, each trailer. And uh, I think that just sets the tone. You know, I think I think a racer steps out. out of their motorhome if they're there, or they get there in the morning from the hotel and they see next to their trailer there's already bags of ice,
Hmm.
you know, it kind of says, "Hey, we care. We're different here. We care," without having to say that.
Right.
It's a
Yeah.
gesture.
Actions speak louder than words. So,
Absolutely. And another, real cornerstone of ours is being able to, the family aspect of things I talked about a second ago. We do a dinner each Thursday and Friday night for all of the competitors and their families. And I mean, there's 1,000+ people
yeah.
that we're feeding and that we're doing it as an investment in the community because it's the right thing to do. It puts people together, it gets people to meet each other in just a laid back atmosphere. You don't know who you're going to sit across dinner from. You just don't know who you're going to see in the line. You're going to meet people. That's what this is all about. This is a
Mhm.
community. This is just one big family. And I go back to the safety aspect of things as being very important on the track, obviously, but equally, if not more important, off the track. You know, this is a place that kids ought to be able to run around and ride bikes the way that all their parents did
Right.
and just go be kids, but know that there's another parent, a friend of a friend that knows that you're so and so's kid and they're keeping an eye on you.
Right.
That's what I remember, going to racetracks and going to places when I was younger was, you had more freedom, but yet you only thought you had more freedom. You're really being watched after and safety's number one.
Well, for us older folks, that's sort of what it was like back in the neighborhoods in the 60s.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Lights, when it started to get dark, you knew that you had to be home for dinner.
Yeah.
There was no cell phone.
Yeah. It's so great. Well, what type of racers? I mean, let's walk through the categories a bit. So you focused on, you got grassroots sports, and do we have is there a bracket aspect to what you do as well?
There
Nostalgia
is.
heads up, sort of,
Yeah. Yeah.
what's the
There's
mix?
a whole bracket series that has divisions around the country. And then we host a final and then a team final.
Hmm.
And that's been highly successful. Those events are typically they're all probably 325 to low 400s,
Hmm.
a very manageable number to have a great event and have people make lots of runs and do shootouts and have fun.
Right.
Um, and then obviously we've got we have the Outlaw series, and that's we've got Top Fuel, Funny Car, Pro Mod, uh,
Fuel altered pro
Mountain
stock.
Motor Pro Stock, Fuel Altered, which I love. That's my new favorite class, to be honest. I just think those things are cool. But then we've got Top Dragster, Top Sportsman, Alcohol Dragster, Alcohol Funny Car, Quick Rod, Hot Rod, Stock, Super Stock, Factory Showdown, Hemi Shootout, just and sleds.
Right. Saw those.
You know that's I loved going to Brainerd every year just to be able to see the sleds at the NHRA event there. Primarily just because their RPM levels just so much higher than everybody else's,
Right.
and just kind of sounds good. But and they had I think a company Woody's, and that always I always saw that logo and thought, oh, that's pretty cool. And they seem to be kind of like the Jegs
Of
of
the
that
sled scene, huh?
discipline. So yeah, yeah,
Wow. Yeah, I guess they run them up at Epping too, or they have. Yeah, I don't know. There's probably a
yeah.
few
That's true.
places around,
That's right. I did see them at Epping as well.
but wow. Yeah, I love all the pro and semi-pro classes. I love the sportsman too, but I mean, in terms of who I have tracked via this database over the years, I can't keep track of a million racers, but I think we got about 127,000 now over the career. the
Yeah,
rehab track.
that's awesome.
But that's my ideal show. I want to see fuel alters. I want to see, I want to see a little bit of everything. And
Well,
this is really,
let me ask you this. Would you rather see a let's just say a 32 car field of top fuel if you could and nothing else, or would you rather have eight of each class?
oh, eight of each class,
Yeah.
all day, every day, and I love the old 32 car fields, but we're not there anymore. It's
I
just not
wouldn't
going to
even want to
happen.
know what the if you first I joked around a couple nights ago with some guys and said, what about a 32 car top fuel shootout and then I said as I said that I said there's probably not 25 of them in the country.
I can tell you
And
to
probably
the
the
men.
bottom 10 you're gonna ugh, you're gonna have them there but you're gonna be nervous.
Yeah. Well, a couple years ago, I know it was a different IHRA. They tried bringing the A fuelers in, and that was an interesting idea, and but I mean, you do what you try to do, and I supported that because you got to have fields. But yeah, and I don't, Brett Kepner, we chat about this for years. We've been friends since we were 30, and that was more than double both of our lives ago. But the thing is, you see more. Just imagine if you're on a Saturday night watching a qualifying show. If there's 40 cars there, you're going to see a ton of cars. And then the next day, which realize most often people are that's a lighter day than qualifying. Now, maybe you guys are going to change that with your shifting the days. I'd love to hear more about that. But you're going to see all those cars and they're going to keep going for it as they try to crack that field. And otherwise, you're probably going to see more runs, because then now no one's going to do one shot and they're in and they're not worrying about another shot, right? So I'm now it probably going to cost the racer a bit more, but that's a thought experiment. We're not talking about 32 car fields anyway. We're
No, no.
yeah.
Like I think, the way that we've really established our thinking, so to speak, is, run an eighth mile traditionally with the fuel cars or anybody that has nitro. Pro
Hmm.
mod, mountain motor pro stock. IHRA has always kind of been that model, eighth mile. So you think about it from an aspect of an expense for the race team. Okay. They've got two qualifying runs that are rather than four.
Right,
Okay. Right there, you've got one third the distance that's different. So and then you've got one less round. So you've got three rounds rather than four. So your consumables, the price of your consumables that you're going through, whether it's cylinder heads, oil,
right,
belts, what tires, it's less and our payouts are higher.
right.
So it's the math is, it goes back to the reset that I talked about earlier that the investment that Daryl's been making and continues to make is going to make it possible so that the racer can make money, the racetracks can make money, and the fans can have a great show,
Hmm.
you know. And from a safety aspect, I got to believe that eighth mile is a little bit safer. You're just not going as fast. You've got more room to shut down. And, in a perfect world, which we don't live in, um, you know, when top fuel cars eclipse 300, if we had a crystal ball, you might have had the opinion then, okay, if they just broke 300, we've got to add 100 feet to each racetrack of shutdown area
Right,
every 10 mile an hour. So when you go to 310, there's 200 feet more. 320, there's 300, 400. Well, some of these tracks don't have the room.
right.
So if our sport was, and it was, founded on safety, then safety should be the number one priority.
Hmm.
So having a longer shutdown area, I think just is it's really the right thing.
Well, I'm excited to see the eighth mile come back. And because I was lazy and way back in the day when we didn't have 1,000 feet, we would have one or two old 1,000 foot tracks like down in Georgia for the funny car match races that we would make a little special note. But I had to go re I had to re program the whole drag racing list to add that 1,000 feet back in 2000 and 2008. Now, of course, we have all three. It's not a problem. But it's exciting for me to see the eighth mile times come back in and to see new leaders of those respective records, those all-time records, and which is what we love to track. And it's really exciting. And of
Yeah.
course, I mean, eighth mile, you get to see the whole darn race. And
And that's the thing for the fans. I mean, that's what we try and do as a sanctioning body is, you know, put our hat on that we're a fan.
mhm,
Okay. What do we want to see? How long do we want to see this for? What do we want to experience? Okay. Now let's put say the fan, okay, like we just talked about the fan that they can see everything from the stands,
right,
basically is what you just said, right?
right.
So that the finishing moment that lasts that long is closer to them at an eighth mile than it is any other distance.
Yeah,
Um, and I think that's important. I think that's important. I think it's a hey, does this who won, who didn't? And the fact that a lot of the scoreboards are after the eighth mile
right.
makes that all the better because there's that you're looking and what did I see? And then you look at the board,
Yeah.
right?
Now you watch the race and then the score, because right now
Yeah,
what you see is the butt end of two cars, and then you're looking for the scoreboard. You're not,
correct.
anyway. Well, man, it's so much fun talking to you, Woody. And we've got the Dina Parisi chat bleachers here with John working feverishly over there. And folks, let's check in with John and the folks in the bleachers and find out what we had going on.
Man, it's going on big time over here tonight, coast to coast, and a lot of comments and a couple of questions. Uh, Jim Cummings said to tell you, Woody, that y'all have a mutual friend in Paul Salvatore,
Great dude.
and he said he's looking forward to what's next. Asked if y'all have a couple in the Northeast, and Randy Johnston asked if San Antonio was on the radar.
Wow. We haven't really gone that far west yet.
Okay,
I
cool.
guess the right term is yet.
Rob McCabe had several comments, and one that he said is that IHRA has been through many trials and tribulations over the decades. He said this is probably the best of IHRA since pre-Clear Channel. He said turning field, if not pre-Clear Channel in general. He said, I'll be honest with the May Maple Grove race. I'm getting the itch to want to go check that, provided I can get off from work that weekend, etc. Ford Purley said he went to both races at Milan. He
Yeah.
said was very welcomed by the IHRA staff and treated fantastic.
That's right. Well,
Awesome.
John, let's hang on just a second, if you don't mind. Woody, do you have any comments on any of those? So kind of some questions and some comments that popped up, but
Comments.
yeah,
Obviously, I've been told plenty of times that everybody that's wearing a blue IHRA staff shirt is friendly and happy to deal with, and that makes me happy to hear that actually, because that's really what it's all about.
awesome.
As far as questions going out west, never say never. When I say yet, we haven't gotten there. I guess Topeka would be as far west as we are right now.
Got it. Well,
Um,
he's our chief researcher who writes all the drag list entries. So I think he's wanting to rename some of those 2008 San Antonio numbers we got at the eighth mile back then.
yeah, there you go. I know our guys that have been working on all of our sanctioned tracks, we're picking up a lot of tracks. There's a lot of momentum. So you're going to see the IHRA flag in a lot more familiar places around the country.
Wow. Thank you, sir. John, the next victim, who do you got out there?
Lex June said, we had an amazing experience with the IHRA last year, and we are very thankful for everything they did for the sport.
Awesome.
Congratulations on
Awesome.
that
And
big
he's a
win,
new
Lex.
American citizen.
That's
That's
right.
right.
Huh? And an
Lex and
event and a
Gerda.
national event winner. That was a pretty strong 10 days for him.
Definitely. I'm with Lex on that, man. I agree 100% with him.
Yeah.
And let's see, an amazing investment. Jim Cummings said an amazing investment into our sport. It's great to see Nitro, AJ, very excited to have IHRA bring my favorite cars, fuel altereds, back to my home track at Maple Grove.
Hmm.
Nice. I love the
And
fuel alters that and the nostalgia pro stock cars we
Yeah.
did at Galot, and you should have seen Larry Morgan's face. I mean, he lit up like he was like, when the cars are leaving, he's kind of going forward. So he was definitely into it. It was great, great to see.
Jim
Morgan's
also
awesome.
said it's an awesome show, answers a lot of questions off the line, great vision to the future. And
Awesome.
Lex June, y'all were talking a little bit about top fuel. He said, "How about 300 miles per hour at the eighth mile?"
Hey, it's gonna happen.
Yep.
It sure
It
could.
happens. And that's another reason, right there, you don't want to slow the cars down, right?
Hmm.
Hmm.
So if we have to change the distance for it to be safer, that's the right decision.
Yeah. We want to see it on the scoreboard, though. You can see it on the time slip for one or two runs this last year,
Yeah.
and happened elsewhere, as we know. But, seeing it on the scoreboard that's when it's official.
Yep.
Well, y'all, I had to laugh when y'all mentioned the Ferris wheel
Mhm.
because when I married my wife and we went to New Orleans on our honeymoon, I got her on a Ferris wheel and she screamed. It was like I was like, "What?" It was so funny. But I'll try to get her back on one of these days.
There you go. Well, come to a race. I'm sure we're going to have it out again. I would expect.
Now we have enough comments and questions to fill out the rest of the show, so I'm going to shut up for now and let BP take over because he's got his notes and I know they're great.
Well, yeah, and thank you, John. I appreciate that. And we do have a couple more questions ourselves, but I do want to get the opportunity. If there's comments, that's great. And we can share those all with Woody. But if there are people who actually have questions that may affect their thoughts about, partnering and racing with the iTrad, we do want to catch those if we can. So if you could take a couple minutes, look through those, I'll jump on to the next few I've got if that works for everybody, and then we'll
Awesome.
we'll, we'll check back in with you in a couple minutes. But
Okay, we have much more comments than questions, but they're all good, and they're
That makes me happy to hear.
yeah, yeah, they're all good for the IHRA and for you as well, Woody. Uh, Cobra Jet Racer asked, "Will there be pro-am races in addition to the Nitro Jams?"
Pro-am races.
are
And
those the
like
former
divisional
sportsmen?
is
I
what
think
is that what he's referring to or no. No. No, we're going to have all classes at each event.
Hmm.
so. That's interesting. So you don't have a sort of a divisional category at this time.
We do, but we use that for the bracket racing for the real grassroots level.
Got it. Well, that's a change, an interesting change. We've all changed so much over the years where, back in the day, and we would go see pro cars at those events,
Hmm.
and then you had to do enough of them to qualify to go to the nationals, and now it's all nationals, and then it was only alcohol cars and a few others there. So this is you know, change is good. I love, mixing it up is good. I'm interested to hear that, and I have to give that some thought. That's pretty
Yeah,
interesting.
some of the thoughts I've, obviously since this weekend we announced our schedule, but a little bit what I'm hearing from sportsman racers is, man, 8 races is a lot. What if we do 6 out of 8, 7 out of 8? You get to throw one away.
Hmm.
Um, so we're definitely listening, like we always do, to our customers. But but we haven't really made a definitive decision on that, and will in the near future.
Okay, that's interesting. So yeah, so you're not, well, you haven't made the decision, but you're thinking about it. So it's not necessarily if you can make it all eight, and then some guys can make only six, then because that's a challenge. People have jobs and
The flip side of that, obviously you look at the other side is that, you've put up a fair amount of money to claim.
right,
But we'll just see how it lands, really,
right.
more than
And the other
anything
thing
else.
is, what do
One of the other things, I go back to listening to our customer that, earlier last year, I said, hey, we decided we're going to eighth mile across the board, and oh my goodness, the super quick stock, super stock,
you?
that whole realm, wasn't angry. I would say maybe disappointed was the word.
Hmm.
So we made that wrong a right and turned it back to a quarter mile for them.
Got it, got it. Well, it's hard to convert a 990 or 890 into whatever the equivalent. What's it, 530 or something? I don't know. Whatever the math
Something
works
I
out.
don't know. I always got confused whenever we went to Denver or any of the elevation races on
Yeah,
indexes. I got a hard enough time keeping track of numbers. To
right.
change it on me is pretty hard, but
I had to keep the calculator handy.
yeah, it's
John,
like,
anyone else with a question, sir?
Hold on, I turned off my microphone. Um, let's see. Dina Paris showed up and she said uh, she agrees with what you were just saying, Bill. And let's see. I don't see any questions,
Okay.
well, there's one question that he was wondering on, but I think Woody already answered it before he asked the question. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Woody's given us a thorough breakdown of the whole idea behind this. And Rob says, yeah, especially with the Triple Crown races that only have several pro classes, will there be any additional racing like a box and no box race?
we have talked about that, and that's a decision that we haven't made yet. We know that we're going to need some additional classes to balance the race, the racing surface. But we haven't made a decision. Me personally, I'm leaning toward the type of classes that appeal to that area of those three races. I think having different classes represented at each one of those events would be better than having the same class represented. But we haven't ironed that out as a group yet, so we will.
Right, right. Lex June just posted. He said Scott Palmer and I wish there was a championship last year since we were the only two top fuel racers that did all the events.
Mm.
And then
Well, maybe we'll give them an extra 25 points just to start the year.
There you
Give
go.
them a jump start, a love jump start, right?
Get some of the something for them to aim at.
That's right.
Okay, Dina just asked if Speed Sport will remain free for the fans.
Absolutely.
Cool. Uh, Steve Lesueur asked about points earnings and national record points and low ET top speed points.
Hmm. Wow. Haven't thought about that
Interesting.
one. That's a
You
good
know
one,
what you
Steve.
need to ask? Is Steve's Fast Fuels going to sponsor that? That's what.
That's right. Yeah. He happens to know a distributor. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Just kidding,
Uh,
Steve. I know.
no, that's all good stuff. I've had a couple companies come to me and, rather than wanting to do a so-called contingency type of arrangement or partnership, where they wanted to do something like a special award, best reaction time of the weekend, closest race, whatever. I don't know. I'm open to that stuff because I think really having partners. If you ask partners what they want to do and you develop something around their needs and wants and desires, everybody wins. So
Right.
Sounds
But
great. You see, these people are coming up with all my good questions, that's fantastic. Get them
That just means that everybody's on sync.
from the
yeah.
source. Yeah,
Well, Jim Cummings made a post. It's not a question, but it's a post, and I agree with it. I think it speaks for all of us. He said the IHRA conceived a master plan and is executing it well.
That's a great. I love that. I love that. Like I'm very good friends with the Carrier family.
hmm
We're and Mrs. Carrier and I was talking to Andy a couple weeks ago, and his mom was there. So she got on the phone and just told me how excited she was to hear about all the stuff that was going on with IHRA. And that's something that's near and dear to my heart because, when the IHRA started, she was right there with her husband Larry,
right.
carving all that out and doing it. And she knew the dream and the vision that he had, and to have her say such nice words about what we are collectively doing as a group, with the support of the racers is pretty special.
That is amazing. Well, 50 years ago, right? They were, you read it, you pick up any big newspaper, and that's where their national events were being reported, just like in HRA, right? They were
Yep.
both big time, and HRA for that matter, out kind of out west, the more, but it's got to be gratifying to them to see it resurgent.
Yeah, yeah. I know the boys are excited. I get text messages from Mark and Andy pretty frequently. Whenever we make an announcement, I get a man, that's great, or what was the thought there? Or, hey, this is really cool. So
Well, Woody, we're sort of coming up on time. Do you have a couple more minutes to spend with us to answer a
sure,
few questions? So
sure.
I did want to, and John, if anybody pops up with something, let me know. But I did want to talk about the track operators because that's I know you guys are purchasing tracks, but tell us about the support for how you're going to support track operators differently a little bit than in the past, especially independent tracks trying to survive in today's economics. Do sort of is the sanction sort of the same? So you talked about having sort of the bracket racing and the finals, and I know there's you no doubt have an insurance package as part of your. Well, I'm assuming. Let me ask the question
Yes.
instead of making the statement. But I mean, have you been working with the independent track owners, or are you indeed attempting to purchase all of the tracks that you race at?
Well, I think right now we're pretty happy with the tracks that we've got now.
Hmm.
You know, Especially going into this season. Could I see us purchasing another track? Probably. I don't know the answer to that, but I do know as it stands today, we've got a lot of events next year that we're going to do some planning and execution on. So that's really where our focus is right now is managing the properties that we have now. Now you asked about general GMs for facilities and all that and different track ownership. You know we offer the best insurance for our sanctioned tracks. Period. It's hands down. It's not even a conversation.
Hmm.
But a lot of the things that we're implementing are bringing. Let's say we go to. This is going to be a bad example, but let's say we go to, I'm going to say Galat. In that area, we'll come to the event safety wise, bring our safety team, the IHRA safety team in that does the major events, and we will bring in different people from tracks so that they learn and they get real time experience and just, I mean, that's
Yeah.
again, it all goes back to safety that we've got to be good stewards of the sport. It's got to be safe, and being able to pass along a lot of that tribal knowledge, like that Jeff Parker, known as LoCal, he was been in the safety safari at NHRA for 25 plus years. And he leads our whole safety team on the drag racing side. So he's seen it, he's done it, he understands. So it's great to have an asset like that that can really help the tracks when they need that help.
Hmm.
As well as the tracks, all of our phones are on 24/7, whether you're a division director or leading one of the racing disciplines, it's on, period.
Got it.
We're here to help because we know if somebody reaches out that they have a genuine need, and we want to make sure to be there to help them.
That sounds great. And you're,
The other thing is like under that the track's understanding that they've got to engage with the community.
mhm.
You've got to be a staple in the community. I mean, PRI and SEMA are doing amazing work with the noise statutes and so forth around the country, and just the whole, a lot of the aftermarket, the laws that are being changed back to the way that they should have been and were. Um, you know, I use this as an example. National Trail Raceway had a national event there for years, crushed it, was a top three attendance race for NHRA. The biggest thing that track's known for now is their light show in the winter.
Yeah, is that right?
Yeah, I mean, the whole community knows that. It's not the racetrack where the race was. Now it's, hey, the racetrack that has the light show. And that some people might take that as a negative, but that's a positive
No, that's
because
aw-
it's given somebody another reason to go to the racetrack when it otherwise would be shuttered.
mhm.
And if you're appealing to a bigger group of people that are getting to see this racetrack at a different time of the year when they're not even thinking about racing, wow, man, look at those stands. I bet they fill that thing, or and now all of a sudden they're like, wow, this is a big place. This isn't just a little podunk place. This is a big facility, and that's advertising, right?
Yeah, that's a
So
great idea. I just popped in my mind. I want to share this with you live because I went to the 1999, I think, Winter Nationals down in Brisbane at Willowbank. My friend Victor Bray flew me down there, and what I found fascinating is you walk around the little town, and every shop you go into had a window display having to do with the ANDRA Winter Nationals, and I'm like, that's just what's up with that. And what they had done was they pulled the town together, I guess, through the Chamber of Commerce and said the best three window displays in town for this race are going to get, they're going to put them in a suite and watch the race. I'm like, that's a great
you see what I'm
thinking
doing here?
idea. Taking notes.
I'm taking notes.
Yeah, because isn't that cool? Because now you're not paying anything. So, well, you're bringing a couple people into buying them a little food and putting them in a suite, perhaps.
I
But that
like
is,
I like that a lot.
yeah,
Kind of
I
like kind of
always
like
was
the
impressed by that.
yeah, it's kind of like the pumpkin contest.
Hmm.
I don't know if I was never good at carving pumpkins. I just like eating the seeds, but
Yeah, I'm a slasher with them, but
yeah, it's that
well,
big knife, that long knife that you try and put in. It only needs to be this long.
right. Well, we talked about this a little bit. So, series partnerships, special events, promoter relationships, how they play in your strategy for 26. And then somebody just came up with a really great idea a moment ago about low ET or best burnout
Mhm.
or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. No, I
So,
love the best burnout thing. That's awesome. That'd be great for a tire company.
yeah. Yeah,
Call it the tire
absolutely.
fryer. No.
Well, let's check in with John one more time. John, any final questions for Woody from the gang?
Steve Lesueur asked, no, it was Randy Johnston asked if IHRA is going to post the list of tracks on their website.
We are. We're actually going to be releasing a new website.
Hmm.
I believe it goes live the end of next week.
Wow. I was just out there.
And
Looked pretty good, but you're gonna one up that one, huh?
well, when we keep adding all these disciplines, it was time to stop band-aiding the website and just do a new one.
Got it.
And
So
we've
cool.
got we've got some amazing technology that's coming on online this year that I think it's going to be a game changer, not only for drag racing, just for motorsports in general. So that'll be a fun one.
Wow. I won't ask the question. I'm guessing what it might be. I'll ask you later, but I don't want to give it away here. But that's really cool. Um, well, Woody, thanks so much for joining us. Let me ask you one final question. You know, you just mentioned the iTrade.com. So folks, it is iTrade.com, isn't it, where folks
Yes,
can
it
find
is.
you?
Yep.
And
Yep.
but looking ahead, what should racers, fans, and track owners be watching for in 26 that it signals iTrade is truly back and leading the way?
Um, I think you're not just gonna hear the excitement from us. You're gonna hear it from those that are experiencing it. And I think that's really what's gonna make make this year special.
It's great. Well, you can't beat word of mouth.
No,
And
no, that's you go back to media in general. At the end of the day, it doesn't, people say, oh, well, you got to post at this certain time or you got to post this many times. The game hasn't changed.
mhm,
It's all content.
right,
If you've got engaging content, it doesn't matter when you post it. Doesn't matter when you announce it.
right,
It's all about how much meat there is on the bone.
right, right. Well, I love it. And you'll do it all in hi-fi and or Wi-Fi, I should say.
That's right. High Wi-Fi and hi-fi.
That's right. That's
High
big.
fidelity.
You got it. Well, Woody Woodruff, thank you so much for joining us. It's been such a pleasure talking to you. I'm excited. I'm coming away excited and can't wait to see what iTrade does in 26. And thanks for getting it done. Thanks for pass it along to the boss. Let him know that we appreciate the investment and hope it works out. Hope everybody makes money and everybody has a great time.
Well, I can tell you when I looked Darryl in the eye when I was hired, and I said, tell me what's your backup plan?"
Hmm.
He looked me right in the eye and said, "I don't have one. I don't fail." And I said, "This is my guy. Let's
There
go."
you
You
go.
know. So I thank you all very very much for the time, and thank the listeners for them listening. And thanks again.
Thanks so much, Woody. Adios. Have a great year.
Thank you.
All right. We're saying farewell to Woody Woodruff, who was amazing. Let's turn it over to John Bachman for this week's JB's Take and the Racer of the Week. John, take it away, sir.
Thanks, BP. My pick for Racer of the Week is Buddy Webb from St. Louis, Missouri. I was intrigued by his drag racing and his diversified talents and interests, and I'm proud to feature him tonight. Buddy started racing in 1969 with B-Body Dodges at St. Louis International Raceway, SLIR, as they called it, the swamp, during the early years of Brett Kepner, a great guy, which, as we all agree. In the early 70s, he switched to a big block Chevy in dragsters and altereds and never looked back. He started working at I-55 Dragway in Peebly, Missouri in 1973. He started as a tech, advanced to event director, and maintained this role until 1995. Being there, he saw the baddest of the bad cars and chassis builders in their infancy. Jerry Haas, Jerry Bickle, Tim McAmis, Andy McCoy, and his longtime friend Larry Jeffers. These guys are the top of the top in Buddy's book. Buddy currently races Tangled Web, which is the number 6 King chassis built by Brian Fox. It is a 195-inch front-engine dragster with a 427-inch big block Chevy injected on alcohol. They also have an undercover rear-engine dragster with a 12-degree 600 cubic inch rare Morrison big block for bracket racing. Buddy runs Worldwide Technology Raceway, including the NDRL. He loves them with Butch Hill, also Skelton Raceway, Glory Days, and Meltdown in Byron, Illinois. Mocan, Havana, and I-57, mostly with nostalgia races. He's registered as number 87 in the prestigious Meltdown 10 race at Byron, Illinois on July 17th and 18th, 2026. Brian Fox and Buddy will once again be hosting the Boot Heel Fuel and Gas Drags for the 6th consecutive year on July 24th through July 26th in 2026. Buddy said, "Thank you, Larry Jeffers and Ricky Skelton. This is a period correct-ish race, 1972 and older cars, including a qualify-to-run quick 32 race, plus other races. You can see it on Facebook. It is a blast." Buddy raises Mediterranean miniature donkeys and African hair sheep as pets. His son says, "Dad, you drive a front-engine dragster. Why wouldn't you have pets that could stomp you to death at any moment?" Good point. Well, Buddy Webb, thank you for sending us this great story. You're an awesome drag racer and a great person. We wish you good luck, safe racing, and the best of times in the future. Everybody stay safe and well. You are the most important part of this show, and we love you all. It's a great way to spend an hour together on a Monday night. Have a great 2026, folks. We'll see y'all next time. God bless America. Back to you, BP.
Thank you, John. Wow, what a great racer of the week. Amazing. Worldwide technology, baby, out there in St. Louis. And of course, that's where our friend Brett Kemper lives now and has made his home for many years. Let's talk about events, upcoming events, and more. I do want to talk about this last weekend though, and although I wasn't able to make it. I had family in town, and I had a great time. But Drag Fest, the indoor Drag Fest, was up at Lebanon, Pennsylvania, and I saw lots of great photos online, lots of great friends. Sorry to miss you all, but looks like you had a good time nonetheless. I want to congratulate Dick Gerwer, Liz Leggett, and all the other awardees for their Nostalgia Drag Racing Hall of Fame inductions. That was pretty exciting. It made me think back 6 years ago. I found the Facebook post and tossed it out there where I was honored to join such luminaries as Dickie Estevez and Jack Red and many, many others on that stage. So congrats to everybody who got their award this weekend. Congrats also to Andy for putting that on. Looked like an amazing event. Coming up this next weekend, January 17th, the Foot Brake Practice Tree Winter Nationals, part of the Cars for Kids fundraising efforts at Lenny Lottig's place up in Pennsylvania once again. Everybody has to make the trip back, but it looks like it's going to be an amazing time. So we do have on our Facebook page, we've got the flyer, so check that out and go do some good stuff for a good cause. Upcoming guests, folks, let's talk about next Monday night. Mason McGahey, the NHRA Pro Stock Racer, will be joining us. We're very excited about that. A week after that, January 26th, we're going to have Chad and Hunter Green, the NHRA Fuel Funny Car team, father and son, and very, very, very excited to bring those folks to you as well. All through February, we've got those shows knocked out. Luke Bogacki, Vito Macholo, McKenna Bold, and Animal Jim Foyer. Speaking about Pro Mod, how about that for a lineup, folks? So we've got everything through February covered and lots of fun stuff happening in March that Miss K's working on. Let's move on then to those we lost. And we have one to mention. Actually, Rob McCabe shared this with us. Our longtime friend Carlos Pepe Loco Montoya. He was a sport compact legend in the Northeast, and he'll be remembered and deeply missed. He passed away on the 5th of January. We just missed hearing about it before we went on the air last weekend, or last Monday night, I should say. But that's it. So farewell to Pepe Loco and condolences to his family and many friends. And with that, John, I'm ready to call it a wrap. So your final thoughts on the show?
I just thought that having Woody with us tonight was fantastic, and what they're doing with IHRA is revolutionizing the whole sport. I mean, I always did like NHRA, but it was a standalone type deal, and IHRA came back gangbusters, man. I think this is just fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to the future with these guys. And I really enjoyed uh, Woody. He's a great person, down to earth guy, and he'll tell it like it is every time,
Hmm.
which is really great, you know. And I'm looking forward to next week. I, you know, we had so many comments and questions tonight. It was hard for me to even keep up with all of it, but it was fun, and I'm glad everybody was here. And come back next week because we're going to do this all over again.
Yeah, come back and join us, guys. Thank you, John. And I do want to say hi to Bill Naves, the shooting star, top alcohol funding car. One of the comments that I pulled up my phone real quick and looked and made a comment while you did your segment. But big fan of Bill, and I know that he's, of course, his Jagger Naves now running, Earth-Shaking Entertainment. I mean, the family's been doing this for a long, long time, and I know that Bill actually wrote a draglist.com article 20, 25 years ago, perhaps, talking about the ideal like sort of event. And this event that the IHRA is sort of putting on reminds me of those. But I love it all. I love NHRA, I love IHRA, I loved AHRA. There are enough racers, I think, to fill these fields, and it's the ultimate winner is going to be the drag racing fan and the racers, I think. I think it's going to give us more places to run. So super fun.
They're great people, and if anybody else has anything they want to contribute, we're more than happy to get it.
Hey, you bet. Yeah, speaking of that, let's talk about the brand new. If you've all seen the top banner at the top of our YouTube page there, thanks to Johnny B. So, Drag Racing Live's the new official name of the show. And to that vein, one of the things we're going to be doing is, in addition to this weekly interview show, which we're going to keep as the anchor of our show, we're going to start doing interviews, 15-minute interviews, 15 to 20, maybe 30, but the interviews with various racers, parts manufacturers, folks who do sponsorships, folks who tune cars, folks to tell you how to drive your car better. I'm already getting great responses from many folks. So what we're going to do is smaller shows, not going to be live. We're going to get these folks online here. We're going to talk about, hey, how do I race better? How do I tune my carbs better? How do I tune my fuel injection better? Whatever the case may be. By the way, give us your ideas. If there's something you wanted to know how to do better, or we're always interested, send us a note, radio@draglist.com, or hit us with a PM here on Facebook. We're going to start churning these out. Frankly, I'd love to do two of those smaller shows per week in addition to the Monday night live shows. So we're gonna create them. We're gonna put them out there, and hopefully, folks are gonna find them valuable. So really excited about our new direction for 2026. And oh, by the way, I was thinking about this the other day. We went online in 1996 with Draglist.com. This is our 30th year with Draglist.com, which is just amazing to me. And it's our 40th year when you consider we started publishing the Drag Racing List booklet back in 1986. So yeah, we got a couple of years on us, guys and gals. So glad you're here with us, and let's keep on rocking.
I should point out that today is the last time we're going to use Racing and Rockin' on the graphics. Starting January the 19th, it's going to have the same heading that you see on the YouTube channel.
Awesome. Thank you, John. Appreciate that. But not for nothing, we got one of the biggest rockers in the world right here. So John and I were talking before the show. I would love to add shows to talk about music, how John plays certain music, how he invents certain music, how he writes it, how he records it. There's lots of opportunities for growth here, and then people can pick and choose the smaller segments that they want to see, and they can watch them at their leisure. And when you're kind of messing around in the garage, the other thing I sort of want to do, which you may have seen on many other YouTubes, is at the end a little box will pop up in the right hand corner saying, here's our next YouTube that we recommend you may watch. So we may have gotten finished watching Woody Woodruff tonight, and then maybe another one would pop up and say, hey, we had Richard Gatson on last week. You want to check that one? So all these little tips and tricks that people have been doing with YouTube, we're actually going to invest a little more time and bring our YouTube experience up to speed there. So rock along with us, guys and gals. I hope you enjoy it. Let's do our final wrap. I want to thank Woody Woodruff, who was really amazing. John Bachman, of course, amazing work every week. Kay Turkelson, who was just she basically burned a path through PRI and got us all these great guests and with perfect timing. Richard Gadsden last week, Woody Woodruff tonight, right after the NHRA or IHRA's big announcement on Saturday, and then he was right here to further expand. Pete Moriello, my man on the West Coast. Rob McCabe doing such amazing work on the list. David Oakes, Mel Bashore, Ron Toombs, and John Mernon II putting up those great photos. Thanks to Jeff Gilder and Dustin, by the way, way back when we got started in 2010. And thanks in heaven to Danny White. Folks, please like, share, and subscribe. If you haven't done it, we're up to 550 subscribers now. I really want to hit 1,000 like within the next month. Tell your friends, subscribe to the channel. Click the little logo down there. That's where you can click and subscribe. Check it on Drag List every day to see what's new. We put something up every day. Check out the Radio Bob Network, who showcases our shows. And finally, we'll see you next Monday night, January 19th, for Mason McGahey. We're talking NHRA Pro Stock, and we'll find out what it's going to take to win in that incredibly difficult and challenging category in 2026. Until then, have an awesome week, everyone. Bye-bye.